thinking about how my expectations changed before my surgery to my actual progress, I suppose I really didn't think about it before getting my surgery. And it's funny to think about it now. Once I was injured and had a diagnosis, I got so focused on doing prehab and getting an actual surgery date that I didn't really think about what my recovery would look like. And so I think that's something that would have been quite helpful. My experience with recovery, and I think this is a very commonly held truth, I think, for people who've been through it, is that, recovery is not a linear path. There's lots of ups and downs along the way. I saw this really great visual on Instagram, and it showed this, a linear line, a mountain, this woman climbing a mountain, and it said, how I thought my recovery would progress. And then there was a paired image that said actual recovery, and it was, all these ups and downs and canyons. And I definitely can relate to that. My recovery, I don't think aligned exactly with the phases of recovery in the rehab program. It took me a bit more time than I expected to move through the different phases. And at my 1 month post-op checkup, the surgeon said to me, and this was really helpful, this is this is not a race. You're not getting behind. And I think, a lot of athletes are competitive or very goal-oriented. So I found that was really grounding and really helpful feedback. I think at this point in my recovery, so I'm about a year out now, I expected I would be back to where I was before my injury. And that's not the case. I'm back skiing now. I've put in 1 day on my skis so far. And I think it's going to be, or at least my surgeon indicated, it'll probably be another year until I'm fully back to where I was before my injury. So that's a little hard to hear, and it's going to be okay. I mean, the things I need to do to get back to where I was are things I want to do anyway, staying strong, taking care of my body. So just continuing along that trajectory is something that I think is important as we head into, the second year of recovery. In some ways, my injury caused me to grow relationships with some people and then also to shrink others. And I think it happens organically. Certain people are going to want to be there for you, and others, unless you're spending time with them actively doing things, your relationships naturally shrink. So I really missed out on nurturing and growing relationships with my friends through being outside together. I find that's how I really grow friendships, is spending time doing things with people. So missing out on that time was quite hard for me. And also it is my social outlet. I don't have children and I'm a single person. So being active outdoors with friends is really how I socialize. And all of this was exacerbated by the fact my injury and surgery and recovery happened during COVID. So just as I was about to get my surgery, we were in the Omicron wave. So, social contacts were already limited. So that part was hard. I think you definitely need to be intentional about continuing to cultivate your social life when you're going through recovery. And I think that can be hard. At least for me, I found I was pretty miserable for parts of it. So I thought, why would anyone want to spend time with me right now? And that's really when you need to reach out the most. And people do want to be there for you. The injury was really hard on my self-image. For most of my life, I've really viewed myself as an outdoors person, as an athlete, and all of a sudden that no longer held. I remember getting out of breath, walking home from the grocery store and, being surprised by that, being upset by that, going from spending days and weeks outside to, spending short periods of time outside when I go for walks in my neighborhood. So definitely felt a bit lost in all of that. And, this question of who am I if I can't do these things that have defined me in the past. So the other thing that happened and happens to everybody is, your body changes going through recovery. I've often been proud of having a really muscular build, and to see your muscles atrophy and your fitness decline, it's very challenging. I have one good friend who had a knee replacement around the same time I had my surgery, and she was really great at reminding me that, we're all multi-dimensional people. So yes, we're active. Yes, we're athletes. But there are other parts of our lives, and to not let that get lost by all this focus on recovery. I'm definitely afraid of re-rupturing my operative ACL, and also I'm aware of the increased likelihood of injuring my other knee. So that's certainly in my head. And I think being more aware of potential risks or things around me, walking on ice now, I find I really pay attention, whereas before I might not have done that. Skiing at the hill, definitely aware of people around me. So I think there's an increased awareness. And, I think it's, again, really normal to be feeling this going through recovery in the final stages of recovery. A year out from my surgery, I feel good. I feel really good. I have got out on my first half day on my skis, so that feels good. I definitely not skiing the way I had before, and I know it's going to be a process, and it's going to take some work to get back there. Really been focusing on strengthening my legs, and have got back into lifting weights, rebuilding my fitness, and I have to say, I feel human again. I noticed, I can't remember how many months out, maybe it was 9 months out from surgery, as I was starting to feel more normal. I was driving my car and this great song came on, and I felt myself dancing in the seat. I thought, oh, I haven't really danced just because the song was good in a long time. So that was a sign for me that I was feeling more like myself again. I'm really aware that my knee will continue to strengthen over the next year, and that rehab continues in the sense of, continued strengthening, working on endurance as well, flexibility. I think looking back, the whole recovery journey has really been a lesson in patience and cultivating resilience. I don't think I was particularly graceful at moving through it, but I got through it, and I'm really grateful to everyone who supported me along the way. Other tidbits to share with people who have gone through surgery or going to go through surgery and recovery. I think it's important to really celebrate small successes along the way. Because it is a long process and it takes time, it's easy to feel daunted by that. So I started keeping a list of little things that I could do that I wasn't able to previously. So the first time I was able to freely swing my leg over the bathtub, getting out of the shower, or to get my leg over my bike trainer without having to stand up on yoga blocks, was something I noted. Or, being able to walk however many blocks to the library to get a book, that kind of thing. So really celebrating those is important. I think finding inspiration where you can. So looking to other athletes who have gone through recovery, looking to friends, looking to inspirational figures, people who have gone through hard things. I caution you that there's lots of noise around going surgery and going through a recovery like this. And what I mean by that is lots of people have a friend who's had ACL reconstruction. And so people have opinions on your injury, on the surgery, on where you should be. And I think take that with a grain of salt and move through it with what's right for you. I found some interesting tidbits online going through talking about moving through your recovery at an appropriate pace. And this gets back to the noise piece, this idea that some professional athletes are back playing their sport 4 months post-op. And I love this one. You are not your favorite professional athlete. I thought that was really good, grounding you in the reality of who you are. And then the other one was, starting slow, going slow. Don't void the warranty on your new ACL. I really liked that one. So taking care of it. I think an important thing for me, and if I have to go through this surgery again, is preparing yourself for how you might feel following surgery. I got so focused on prehab and the surgery date that I didn't do any mental prep around what recovery might be like. So know where you can access mental health supports if you need them. I used a therapist to move through the first number of weeks post-op because that was the hardest for me mentally. And, having gone through the recovery now, it was incredibly challenging. And there were definitely points where I felt like it would never be over. I would never emerge from this. Time dragged on, and then suddenly it's a year post-op. So if this resonates for anyone listening, you're going to get through it. Things change slowly, but it's happening. Put in the work. Listen to your surgeon, listen to your physiotherapist, and, brick by brick, you'll build your strength and your endurance back, and you'll get out there and do the activities you love. And yeah, I think that's important to know. You will get through it.